Okay, this is a killer shark movie, alright? I'm speaking directly to killer shark movie fans and horror movie fans and diehard Jaws fans. If you're none of those three things, go watch fucking A Handmaid's Tale, okay? Happy 4th of July, everybody. I'm cooped up inside, but, you know, there's no reason that I shouldn't at least be attempting to entertain you guys, because it's the 4th of July, and it's a very special holiday. When it comes to holiday-themed horror films, you know, obviously with Halloween, it's a no-brainer. You gotta go with Halloween. Christmas, you know, most reasonable people would go with either Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Black Christmas. But there's some weirdos out there who are like, oh, I watch Gremlins every Christmas. Christmas is for Silent Night, Deadly Night, okay? St. Patrick's Day. Really, it's like Leprechaun or any of the Leprechaun sequels. When it comes to 4th of July, though, there's really not that many, like, super solid options when it comes to, like, 4th of July themed horror films. There's one movie, I think it's just called Uncle Sam. I've never actually seen it, but it looks really solid. But, I've never seen that one, so, you know, 4th of July, I guess you go watch Independence Day, but if you want a true, honest horror film, really your only option is going to be Jaws. This isn't the only version of Jaws I own. Only reason I brought it out is because I just bought this version because Walmart just put out Jaws 1, Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and Jaws the Revenge, all out on DVD, and they're all in these like super uniform, nice like white and red, blue, red, white, and blue clashing color palettes. And I gotta tell you, I love the Jaws movies. Actually, you could so far as say that they're my favorite movies. Jaws 1 in particular is the greatest film of all time, and it's my personal favorite film of all time. And the Jaws sequels were very near and dear to me as a child. I watched all of them. So when I hear a lot of people say like, oh, this 4th of July, you gotta watch Jaws because it's like the only horror film that's set on the 4th of July and is specifically kind of entwined with that holiday. And I agree with you guys. Every year everyone comes back to Jaws, the original. And I think for good reason. Like I said earlier, it's the greatest film of all time. That's a pretty good reason to watch it. But are you ever kind of, like, I know it's hard to believe, are you kind of bored of just watching Jaws? There is a possibility to watch another great killer shark movie, and it also has Jaws in the title. No, I'm not high off my rocker. You can call me a fucking idiot if you want to, but I'm gonna make a pretty strong case that you guys have all been watching Jaws the Revenge the wrong way for a very long time. Okay, so rather than try and convince you that Jaws the Revenge is a good movie, because from the bottom of my heart, it's not. I know that. But it is a movie that I like a lot, and I enjoy quite a significant amount. So much so I'd probably say it's my second favorite Jaws movie. Because, like, look, Jaws, it's the greatest movie of all time. I said that before. Jaws 2 is a really solid killer shark movie, like, in a lot of different ways. And there's great performances all across the board, great shark kills, lots of great tension, but its only crime is not being as good as the first one. It basically just tries to do the same thing, but it also doesn't at the same time. It's more of like a just straight up slasher film where people are stuck on like boats and Jaws is trying to eat them. It's well worth a watch. I love all of these films. Jaws 3 is the only one I would genuinely recommend most people skip. And I'm not saying that because I think the movie sucks. I enjoy the movie. But when I watch a Jaws movie, Jaws as a character, as a movie monster, is supposed to look a certain way to me. He looks like this, okay? In Jaws 2, he looks like this, you know, very similar. But in Jaws 3, he looks like this. Jaws 4, he looks like this again, so it's fine. Jaws 3, it just is, like, kind of boring a little bit. Even as a kid, it was the only one that I didn't, like, really watch a lot. The plot is cool, but Jaws the Revenge, which we're going to be talking about almost exclusively today, kind of sweeps that one under the rug. And even as the film was coming out, they said, like, oh, the conclusion to the Jaws trilogy, as if Jaws 3 just, like, it didn't even happen. And a lot of the events of Jaws 3 are not even referenced in Jaws the Revenge. You can watch them all and say they're all canon, but in between movies, the Brody brothers apparently just got, like, completely different jobs and make no mention of the fact that they were in SeaWorld and encountered a 30-foot-long great white shark in that film. So, whatever. This is a movie that is so unanimously hated by, like, everybody. So, if you're going to complain that I'm being stupid by trying to convince you otherwise, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of, like, pointless. Like, you're in an echo chamber at this point because, look, Everyone has agreed with you, okay? History agrees with you. You've won this argument. Jaws the Revenge is a terrible fucking movie. It's poorly made. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. Like, I understand that. But I'm gonna come out in defense of it because, one, I enjoy the film, and like I said, I think all of you have been watching this movie wrong. If you don't want to see somebody give you a different opinion or try and open your mind a bit as to look at this movie in a different light, don't watch this video because, you know, I can see, like, you'd rather just go on Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic and read a bunch of people say,
"It's so stupid how the shark, like, does this when it wouldn't do that. Like, it's so dumb."
Here are my steps of how to watch Jaws the Revenge properly this 4th of July, and maybe you can get some proper enjoyment out of it, and you might look at it in a different light than you did prior, and that's really what I want people to do. I want people to revisit all 4 of these movies because, man, fingers crossed that at some point in time we could actually get that Jaws 5. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but whatever. Bring all 3 of these. Just talking about this guy right here. Man of the hour. The first mistake a lot of people make when they watch Jaws the Revenge is they say, "Oh man, I love Jaws. I'm gonna watch the sequels so I can get similar feelings again, but in a different movie." No. You're never gonna get that, okay? There are tons of killer shark movies out there. We got Shark Night, we got Open Water, Bait 3D, The Meg, The Shallows, Deep Blue Sea, one of my personal favorites. None of these films come even fucking close to being as good as Jaws, okay? I would say Deep Blue Sea is definitely the second best shark movie ever made, behind Jaws, obviously. There's really not that many watchable killer shark movies. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, you got all the Sharknadoes." Those are not shark movies, okay? Yeah, it's funny, there's a tornado, there's fucking sharks in it, bleh, whatever. I've never actually seen any of those movies, and I don't really have any desire to because they have no connection to real-world sharks. And you're gonna say, "Oh, but you like Jaws the Revenge when the shark roars?" The difference is that the shark is actually, like, underwater, and also the shark is a practical, like, mechanical rubber shark, which is so much fucking cooler than whatever the hell Sharknado was doing. I cannot stand looking at, like, grotesquely fake CGI sharks. It's just repulsive for me to look at. Jaws is a movie monster. He has a specific look to him. Yes, this is Jaws. This is a real shark. They don't look the same. I find this way scarier because it's a monster. It's something that's not real, okay? I'd rather encounter this all fucking day long before I even see that thing, like, behind fucking glass. Okay, that thing's terrifying. As a kid, I always remember being at the lake, and I would be petrified of the water because of Jaws. I wasn't scared of drowning. I wasn't scared of the fucking gill man. Actually, I was, but I was scared of Jaws. Like, seriously. I'd be in the pool, and I'd, like, close my eyes for 2 seconds, and I felt like if I opened them, Jaws was gonna be right there, and he'd fucking eat me. And that fear comes from the fact that this thing looks terrifying. I never was scared of, like, a real great white. I love sharks. I've watched tons of documentaries about them. Shark Week can go fuck itself. And that love for these animals comes from this movie, and I understand that there's a distinction between these two things, so don't look at Jaws, any of the movies, as a nature documentary, because they're not. It kind of astounds me that a lot of people are going to point out the stupidity of the shark physics and stuff in Jaws the Revenge, and also Jaws 2 and 3, but give Jaws 1 a free pass. I understand that Jaws 1 is an exceptionally well-made film, given the subject matter, but that doesn't mean that, like, the other 3 movies are the only ones that have something stupid about them. The shark would never do this, or this, but it does these things in the sequels, and everybody flips out about it. Mistake number 2. A lot of people watch this from beginning to end. You take your copy of Jaws the Revenge, and you're like, "Oh boy, I can't wait to watch it." You stick it in the DVD player, and then you just push play, and you fucking cover to cover. You watch the entire movie. Wrong.
Idiot. How would you do something so foolish?
No, what you need to do is watch up until, like, the 20-minute mark, okay? Everything at the beginning, most people will agree with me here that have seen this movie. That opening scene is... Ooh. Best Jaws kill, by far, is Quint being eaten. Second best Jaws kill is the girl being eaten at the beginning of the movie. And the third best Jaws kill, let me tell you, is Sean Brody getting eaten at the beginning of Jaws the Revenge. This scene fucked me up as a kid. Everyone ever eaten in a Jaws movie, with the exception of the girl at the beginning of the first movie, is eaten during the day, okay? And it's like, they just get pulled under and they're gone, you know? Quint had a pretty violent death, but it was more of like, it was a lot quicker, and it was like more of like a hardened badass type dude, and he's like fucking stabbing the shark as he's getting eaten. So it's not as traumatizing to see him get fucking bodied by this shark. Sean Brody, on the other hand, I still remember as the kid who did the Muffin Man thing in the first movie. He was adorable, okay? Then I saw him in Jaws 2, like, gain the courage to survive that situation and yell at this fucking beast, and then his dad saved him yet again. But he's in Jaws 4, and he's a cop, just like his dad, okay? Opening scene of the movie, we get this epic opening credit sequence, and let me just say, the score in this film is phenomenal. The guy, who the fuck did the score for this movie? Okay, so it would appear that Michael Small, he's a film score composer, he did the score for this film. The score for Jaws the Revenge is so criminally underrated, okay? Yeah, John Williams, he came up with the like the iconic thing. But Michael Small took that and he made this more like urgent, kind of like mystical sound that is... It's so like hard to put into words how it actually sounds. It's really fucking awesome, okay? Opening scene of the movie. Shark's eyes wake up, and we see it swim into Amity Bay, okay? And it's nighttime, and this score is so fucking exhilarating. This opening scene is just beautiful to look at, with the shark constantly submerging up, and it's getting closer and closer to the island, and then going down, and you see like the fucking wreckage and twisted metal of all this damage it's caused throughout the previous movies at the bottom of the ocean. It's so fucking good. We meet our main character, played by Lorraine Gray. It'd be Ellen Brody from the first film, so we get a returning character, which is nice. And we also get Sean Brody. We establish kind of their dynamic, we get to know them, we regroup with them, we like these people. Sean Brody is a cop, just like his father before him, who we all adore, obviously. And he gets called out to fuck with this like log that's wedged into this channel, and it's Christmas Eve, and it's nighttime, and it's cold, people have winter coats on, it's snowing, there's Christmas carols, there's Christmas lights, it's a very Christmassy scene. He goes out there, and this gut fucking wrenching score happens, and we see this dude get viciously eaten by this fucking shark. Like, let's say there was no Jaws 4. Let's say there was no Jaws 2 or 3. And then years later, like in the last couple months or something, some like famous YouTuber got some money together and they did like a short film, and it ended right as the shark killed Sean Brody, and we saw everything up to that point. I think people would be applauding this movie because it's a very scary, intense opening scene. It's a very mean kill, and it's something about this scene really fucked me up as a kid, because it was like Christmas, the cold, nighttime, and you're like out just far enough that no one can hear you, and just something about the way that like the shark takes the guy's arm, he realizes his arm is gone, starts having a panic attack, not just because his arm is gone, but because he realizes the boat is filling with water, no one can hear him, and he comes to grips with the fact that his fate is going to be this boat is going to sink, and he's going to be in the water with this fucking thing, and it's going to eat him. And he's seen this thing twice before in his life. That's fucking terrifying. And it's so poetic that like his dad was a cop and now he's the cop, and Jaws in this movie basically comes like back to life and swims back there, and he gets called out on Christmas Eve, and it's like the shark killing him as a cop in that fucking boat is like the same, like it's like the fate that his father escaped. It's like the sins of the father carry on to the son. It's really tough stuff, honestly, if you really like think about it. And I know some people might be saying, well, that's really dumb, and I'm like, okay, well, not everybody's, you know, fucking I'm a true film critic, and the idea of a shark coming back from the grave to take revenge on the family is positively dubious at best. That's very contrived and silly. No, this opening scene is stellar, but then a lot of people will say the second Sean Brody dies, turn the movie off. Wrong! Watch the next, like, 5 minutes. Watch up until they get on the plane and they go to the Bahamas, okay? Because there's a lot of genuinely really good human emotion in these scenes. I know that's astounding, okay? But it's not all consistently fucking retarded the whole time, okay? This is a fucking 80s killer shark movie where the main character is like a 50-something-old woman who's a widow who is finding love again late in her life and coming to grips with the death of her son. There's not that many horror films even today that star an old woman finding long-lost love deep in her fucking late 60s or whatever, and also fighting a killer shark, okay? Name one other one. Name one. I'll wait. Once they get on the plane to go to the Bahamas, skip, okay? Because it's really fucking boring. Next point that you should skip to, a lot of people will say skip to the banana boat scene. We'll get there. Watch all of the bits with Michael Brody and his boy Jake on their little boat thing looking for snails. As a kid, I really wanted to be a marine biologist or an oceanographer or anything like that. And the reason I wanted to was because of Hooper from the first movie and Michael Brody and Jake from Jaws 4. Okay, honestly. Those characters, they showed me that this is like a really fun, adventurous, cool job. They seem like they're always having fun. I like both these characters. And seeing them in peril with the shark and hunting the shark, while it's not nearly as good, is very reminiscent of the scenes in Jaws 1 where it's Quint Brody and Hooper on the orca looking for the shark. I just like that camaraderie on the open ocean looking for this monster under the depths. Like, that stuff's just fucking epic, okay? There's a really cool chase, actually, where Jaws is chasing Michael through this, like, sunken ship that you really don't want to miss. This sunken ship is like a haunted house. And Jaws is like Michael Myers, slowly moving after his target. And Michael is like the resourceful final girl who's trying to find a way out of here. And his like little move of like gonna undo the tank and blow himself up to the top. That scene is like scripture in my mind. I understand that it's a lot of nostalgia talking here, but there's a lot of fun to be had there, especially when you didn't have to sit through a bunch of family drama beforehand to get to that. I'm telling you, okay? Okay, so the next scene of particular note I recommend are any of the scenes with Michael Caine. He has openly stated that he's never seen this movie, and then he just did it to buy like a new house or something, and it definitely shows. But Michael Caine is likable in virtually every role. Now, I know I skipped over a lot of his development scenes earlier, and the stuff with Ellen Brody is actually kind of touching, but this is a killer shark movie and nobody wants to see that shit. So skip to the banana boat scene. It's fucking awesome. This banana boat and the shark, like, just watch the scene on YouTube. It's way easier for me to just show it to you, and it's so much fun. Fun fact, or not really a fun fact, but depressing fact, the girl who plays Thea in this movie, she was actually murdered by her father, like, very shortly after this. She was known for a bunch of other things, namely the voice of Ducky from Land Before Time, and she also voiced the girl, Annie Marie? I don't know, from All Dogs Go to Heaven. So, that really sucks. I don't know why I felt the need to tell you that, but, she... Moving on. Skip to, from the banana boat scene to when Michael Caine crashes his plane into the water. All this shit, like at the end with them all four on the boat battling Jaws. I'm sorry, I love that shit. This poster where it's like Ellen Brody with like a spear, and Jaws is like rising out of the water like this monolithic like video game final boss to fucking so she can javelin him. That never actually takes place in the movie, but god damn would it be cool if it did. They have a lot of fun banter on this boat. You get to hear Michael Caine yell a lot of like British stuff. You get to hear Ellen Brody have flashbacks to previous better movies, and you get to have Jake get eaten off the mast of the ship. This scene really, like, there's one shot that makes this whole scene come together, and it's this shot right here. Because it's like, in the Jaws movies, a lot of times you see someone get bitten, and they get pulled under, and then it's gone. It's like the second that they enter beneath the surface, they're dead. They've ceased existing. This one shot recontextualizes a lot of other shots of people getting eaten in the previous 3 movies. Because typically when someone, like I said, gets pulled under, the suffering ends. But this is like, nah. Once they get pulled under, they're still suffering. It's just the characters in the movie aren't seeing it anymore. This scene, ooh, I really didn't like that. The scene that brings up a lot of contention, Jaws roaring. I'm gonna get to that. They eventually defeat Jaws by impaling him with the mast of the boat. In the theatrical version, the version that's on this copy of the DVD, and also the one they play on TV most of the time, and pretty much the version that most people have seen, the shark gets impaled and then it explodes. It makes no sense. It looks really stupid. I guess it's like, oh, well, the shark blew up the last 3 times, so I guess they felt like they had to blow it up this time. But in the original version that they showed in theaters and in like Europe or wherever the fuck it was, the shark gets impaled and then is like just writhing in pain and bleeding a shitload of blood, and then it like is so massive it like sinks the fucking boat, like it takes it down with it. This version is the version you need to see. When Netflix had the movie, that was the version they put out. And then there's a Blu-ray copy of Jaws the Revenge that features this ending on there. And it really needs to be put back in, okay? Because that is the superior ending. And in the ending where the shark blows up, Jake lives. He kicks out of that. Look, I love the character. I think he's a super fun dude, okay? But no, you don't live through that. And it completely deflates that part opening. So the DVD, like I said, it's a lot of things you have to wade through. But there is entertainment to be had in here. If you would like to torture yourself and watch the movie from beginning to end like I do, watch it with friends and drink a lot. You will not be bored at all. And even if you are sitting through and watching it the painful way, those 3 or 4 scenes I highlighted are genuinely worth checking out. Because when it comes to Jaws the Revenge versus like all the Sharknado movies or a bunch of movies with like really terrible looking fake sharks, I would rather take this fucking one any day. The other nice things I have to say about Jaws the Revenge come from the teaser trailer that scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Man's deepest fear has risen again. Jaws, the Revenge. This time, it's personal.
And the other nice thing I have to say about it is the theme. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about is people get wrong with this movie, is they try and take it as a serious nature film. It's not. This is a supernatural, psychological killer shark film, okay? The shark in this movie is not a shark, and it's what I've been trying to say from the very fucking beginning about Jaws, okay? Jaws is not a killer shark. Jaws is a movie monster that takes the form of a shark, okay? Jaws 4 is when this character of this killer shark meets its final form. It hits its apex. Because no longer is Jaws being held back by trying to be realistic or trying to depict what an actual shark would do. This is a shark that at the beginning of the movie just spawns immediately where let's just fucking pretend here. This is the shark from the first movie, and it just spawns, like resets. It grows the rest of its body back and rises up out of the ocean and immediately swims back into Amity, okay? Like, it's a haunted fucking evil presence in the ocean that is intelligent. It hates the Brodies. It hates mainly Chief Brody for blowing it up, you know? So it swims back in there, and it's nighttime. It's Christmas. It's cold, okay? And it takes a log and lodges it into the channel marker to draw Chief Brody out because it knows that that's going to be Chief Brody's job. And instead, it gets Sean Brody out there. It willingly, it waits for fucking Sean Brody to come out there and fuck around with this thing, okay? And when it eats him, it tastes that blood. It tastes that Brody family blood. And once it's got that blood in its teeth, it's fucking game on, okay? It knows where Michael Brody is. It knows where Ellen Brody is because it's a supernatural serial killing shark. So it can follow them to the Bahamas. It can swim backwards. It can follow them through a boat. It knows where Thea Brody is. And fuck it, when you stab it with a mast, this thing might explode. It's a voodoo shark. You don't fucking know. Even in the movie, they set up that it was voodoo. And in the novelization of the movie, I'm not making this shit up, they say that it was a voodoo guy that put a curse on the fucking Brody family, okay? I'm not making that up. This was supposed to be a supernatural shark. This shark fucking roars, okay? And with the theme being this, like, mystical, kind of, like, urgent, supernatural slasher movie score, how could you possibly watch this and assume it's supposed to be, like, a killer nature film. It's not at all. This is a really cheap, shitty killer shark movie. A killer shark that has the sentience of Michael Myers. What you're dealing with here is an eating machine, which is why it looks like a machine, okay? The fakeness of the shark in all of the Jaws films, I think, really amplifies the fear factor, because films like Deep Blue Sea really touched on this, because they use a practical shark, which is so much scarier, because it's not just the idea that sharks exist. I know they exist, and I know that they're not really out there to hurt me. But these mechanical beasts that they build for these movies terrify me so much, because they're portraying a movie monster version of a shark. They're not trying to depict what an actual shark is like. And that's an idea that's way more primal and scary to me. The fact that Jaws, in Jaws the Revenge, is specifically hunting members of the Brody family. Yes, they could easily go to Iowa, where I live, and never have to worry about Jaws. But for all you fucking know, Jaws is gonna, like, dematerialize and then repolicule himself in, like, a swimming pool or the fucking lake and eat you there. And then what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? It's like, no matter where you go, Jaws is destined to come after you. Maybe these are just the insane ramblings of somebody who saw this movie as a kid and really enjoys it and would like people to give it a second look, because goddamn, I love the Jaws movies. And I'm fucking proud of it. And if you think it's stupid, I can't really argue with you, because yeah, it's really stupid, but man, is there a lot of fun to be had here that I think people are genuinely overlooking. The deep-rooted analysis of Jaws the Revenge has been a long time coming, and I think a lot of people should take a closer look at this movie, okay? So that's my, I don't know, not my review, because reviews are fucking lame, but my open thoughts, I guess, about Jaws the Revenge. Just my impressions of the movie after having years to gestate and sit on it and having rewatched it twice in the last week. Happy 4th of July. I hope you watch a lot of killer shark movies. If you don't want to watch a killer shark movie, I recommend Orca or Dark Age or Rogue as alternatives to killer aquatic animal movies. A wonderful subgenre of horror films that seriously needs way more entries in it. And there's also plenty of other pretty solid killer shark movies out there. And there's also a lot of really shit ones if you want to just watch something completely horrendous. I'm Dante Graves, and happy 4th of July.
Jaws the shark, lurking in the dark of the depths of the sea. One day on a lark, decides to get rowdy, get real violent. Takes a vacay up to Amity Island. Sunshine, lotion, fun in the sun, blood in the ocean. Everybody run, cause it's crazy how few fucks this shark gives. He'll eat naked ladies, he'll eat little kids. Oh no,